I'm afraid I can't let this drop. One of the complaints I get from people, and I totally agree with, is when anybody discusses Southport, the topic becomes the reaction. The topic on all the news channels and from MPs becomes the reaction to what went on in Southport. I don't mean the riots, I mean the actual attack. And I don't think those little girls actually get enough airtime. I think it's dreadful the way it's treated. Tim Farron, an MP, tweeted yesterday, and I think I read it out in my other video, 3 little girls were murdered 3 months ago. That's it. That's all he says about them. Nothing more about them. Then quite a long paragraph that goes on to say, then and now it depresses me immensely that some people seem determined to find a way to make this evil tragedy something that justifies their prejudices, or worse still, pander to other people's for electoral purposes or clicks. Now, if anybody's ever pandered to people's prejudices for electoral purposes, I'd say it's the Labour Party and Tim Farron's party, because they didn't take any notice of the people who voted for Brexit, did they? But let's get back to the 3 little girls. 3 little girls were murdered 3 months ago. That's it. That's all they get. Let me tell you what that is. They weren't just murdered. They were brutally attacked. They would have physically suffered and felt pain, and we're not sure how long it took them to die. That is something that will run through their parents' mind again and again and again, not to mention those that tried to save them and the way their lives have been changed. PTSD, physical injuries, they don't even get a mention either. And as any sane person will know, the parents of these 3 little girls will probably wake up in the morning, that first few seconds as you're coming round when you've forgotten the tragedy because you've been asleep, if you got any, and then it sinks in your thought process, oh no, it really happened, and the bottom of your stomach falls out as you get up to make a cup of tea, and that sadness is in you indefinitely. Those families will never be the same again. The prejudice he talks about is almost defending a boy that decided it was a rational thing to do to go out and attack a dance class. And those 3 little girls didn't even get to finish that day, let alone finish alive, finish school, finish an education, get a boyfriend, see the parents proud when they marry, have children, the parents to become grand. No, that's all gone. That's been taken right away from them. And as you know, a lot of people who suffer these sort of premature tragedies, the relationship with the parents seldom survives. It's got to be made of special stuff, because this loss, this emptiness is there forever. And that never gets a mention. Nobody dwells on that. We just get back onto our behaviour as the public, that we handled ourselves badly tweeting online, and that bad behaviour was enhanced by the lack of information by the government, and many commentators are saying they must have known immediately. Some have even said no wonder Starmer wanted to get out of Southport so quickly. And then the information is released the night before the budget. What is that about? Is that to take our mind off the budget? Or was it done because we'd be focused on the budget and it'd take our mind off the lack of care and attention by the government and other public bodies? So those 3 little girls, they're the ones that should be talked about. They're the ones that should have great paragraphs written about them. But every MP and commentator I see focuses on the riots, the tweets, the unsuitable stuff that was put on social media. How do you define what's unsuitable when you're angry? Because you've sat here like sitting ducks with attack after attack after attack after attack, beheadings, stabbings, knifings, machete attacks, bombs, ram raids with vehicles. Our city centres changed beyond belief because great concrete ugly bollards are put on bridges and entrances to shopping areas. We've had to adapt. We've done all the adapting in the West here to accommodate people from other lands that don't like how we live, that come here to live amongst it and then decide to attack it when we're feeling safe and secure. So I think the anger, somebody should have cut us a bit of slack here and let us blow off steam, because we seldom get the opportunity to. And somebody certainly should have spent more time talking about these little girls. I cannot believe that these people in Westminster are so detached from our feelings of how we felt at that time. That feeling that ran through your mind, or not another one, and the tragedy of losing a child before a parent and all that that entails. Those little girls weren't activists. They weren't members of any political organisation. They had no affiliation with either side of the argument. All they were thinking about that day was getting their little tutus on and their leotards, some shiny shoes and streamers, and dancing in a dance class to Taylor Swift music. That's what they had to look forward to. And the rest of their lives was taken off them. And that is what you should be concentrating on, Tim Farron. You call yourself a Christian, and yet all you can concentrate on is switching the attention back to the bad behaviour of the public. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. Didn't that come from somewhere to do with Christianity? What about forgiving us? What about forgiving us instead of forgiving the people who do these brutal attacks? You're far too ready to forgive them and not make any time in your pontifications about the actual loss that's happened and the tragedy that we've had to put up with. And it shames me to look at you people. It absolutely shames me to think that you cannot see what I see.